Matt and I have spent all day cutting the logs that were left in a pile after clearing the woods a few months ago, and we are almost done. We have just a few piles of sticks and vines that we need to relocate to a burn pile, but other than that, everything is cut up, stacked, and cleared out, which feels so good. We are now headed to one of our favorite golf courses called Overlook in Hollis, New Hampshire to play 9 holes of golf. They have a special after 5 p.m. Is it every day or just on Sundays? Every day, where you can have a discounted price and just play as many holes as you can fit in.
Twilight rate.
It's called the twilight rate. So we're gonna go do that because usually by 9 holes I'm pretty tired. We're gonna stop and get a few drinks before we go, and then I will bring you along to the course and show you how terribly I'm likely going to play, because this is my first time swinging a club in a very long time. First hole complete. I picked up like 4 times. That was just terrible. Matt got a par, which was pretty good. He didn't play very well yesterday, so I think he's feeling it today.
Drove the green into. Donated. Hole 4, 2 good shots in a row. I think we only filmed one of them because we're never filming when I actually make a good shot. But I totally missed the putt, so still a good hole. Of course. The only time you hit it straight.
Just wrapped up hole 9. I think I hit the ball like 8 times, so I just dropped it near the green, chipped it onto the green, missed my putt, and we're ending on that note. So, great evening of golf. Definitely should practice more, but you know, we have that long list of things to do, so not sure I'm gonna have a lot of time for that. But it was fun. Was it fun?
It was a ton of fun.
Yeah, good. Alright, time for dinner. Memorial Day. It's been a slow start to the day. Matt and I slept in for the first time in I don't know how long, and then we spent all morning mowing the lawn before it rained, which was nice to finally get that done because the lawn just looked a little untidy. Then we watched a movie and relaxed for a bit. Now I'm out in the garden and I just planted 5 seedlings I purchased from the garden center the other day. I got 2 different eggplants and 3 different hot peppers. The peppers and one of the eggplants had been eaten by something, so I wanted to get some slightly larger plants to hopefully give them a chance to grow before something eats them. So we'll see how those do. I just grabbed my jar of eggshell powder that we made in the last vlog, and I'm going to sprinkle that in 2 more beds. A few weeks ago, maybe more than a month ago now actually, we made some of this and sprinkled it in 2 of the beds, but that's all I had enough for, so I've just continued to save eggshells. I dried them out and crushed them into a powder last week, and now I'll add this to a few beds just to give it a calcium boost. And then we'll continue to save more so that we have enough for the last 2 beds, and then that will be done for the season. So hopefully I can do this earlier next year, but I hadn't been saving eggshells soon enough, so we didn't have it in time. But now we know, and we'll be on top of that. I just put it in these 2 beds here by the bean trellis, and I just took my rake and kind of loosely like raked it in around the existing plants. When I did it before, I didn't have any plants planted, so it was easy to just rake it in the whole bed, but with the rain and everything, it'll kind of work itself in. So that's all done. I forgot I also planted a whole bunch of carrot seeds. I just sprinkled some in a few different beds because I'm really wanting more carrots this year. Last year they didn't do so hot. I'm not sure if they'll do great in the back bed because the soil is pretty compact, so I just kind of tried them in a few different beds to see if they do okay. We'll see. They did start sprouting up in the first bed I planted them in earlier in the season, but something started eating the greens on top, so I'm hoping if I try them in a few beds, at least one of them will survive and start making larger carrots. So I'll keep you posted on that, but the radishes and the bok choy and the turnip seeds I planted just a few days ago already started sprouting up, so that's exciting to see. Now before I go inside, I'm going to clip some lettuce and bring that in, and maybe some herbs too. We'll see what's looking good. Wednesday. This week has thrown me off because of the holiday on Monday, but we have recovered from the poor golf excursion. It was fun, but didn't do too great. And we are now headed to Home Depot because Matt did a little research on the gutter setup for our new rain barrel. So we're gonna go pick up supplies to hopefully get that set up in the next few weekends. It seems to be relatively simple, but we will see. Nothing is ever as simple as it seems. We know that. but we probably won't set that up tonight. We'll just get everything we need. I do need to water the gardens because it's been warm the last few days, and I took advantage of that big rainstorm we got, but now it's no longer nice and wet on the ground. So I need to water the cucumbers and the pumpkin patch, and I need to water the back garden because the onions are looking a little bit sad. I'm really hoping they'll power through, but we'll see. And then I will also show you a few things that have started popping up, which is super exciting. Alrighty, back home. Got all the stuff we needed. Seems pretty easy to set up, like Legos kind of. So hopefully we'll get to that soon. We also picked up Five Guys on the way home because it's getting late and we were getting hungry. So today was a fast food kind of day. I am now by the back garden and I wanted to show you a few things that are popping up. So I'm gonna flip the camera and show you. So if you remember, a few weeks ago we planted 4 rows of potatoes, 2 rows of russet, and 2 rows of Yukon Gold, and some of them are starting to pop up. So they're like pretty firm little shoots, but a whole bunch of them are popping up in this first row here. We've got just a few in the second row. I don't see any yet in the third row, but this fourth row here has a few too. So that's very exciting. And then back here, super small, but we've got a whole bunch of sunflowers popping up. I'm really hoping that they'll survive whatever's trying to nibble on them. They're doing okay. Like this one only has a little bite, but this one has a pretty big bite. So I'm just crossing my fingers that they survive. And I also planted some on this side of the garden, and more of those seem to be popping up. So we've got one here, there, there, there. One's trying to pop up right there. So this side seems to be more promising, and hopefully if they're gonna eat something, they just eat those and leave these guys alone. So I feel like we're doing decent in the back bed, all things considered. I'm gonna run inside, eat some dinner, and then we'll see if I have time to water. If I don't get to that tonight, I will definitely do it first thing in the morning when I'm outside with the dogs. I'm outside. It is Friday afternoon. I can't believe it. This week has flown by. I have a few garden tasks that I need to get done today. And first up is wrapping the twine. I don't know if that's really loud for you. Motorcycles are out today. First up is putting twine around the stakes in the garden beds by the driveway to provide support for the flowers that are growing there. Ooh, I'm very bright. Sorry about that. I'm looking right into the sun. If you missed the video where I put the stakes in, I will include a link to that video on the top of the screen somewhere so you can watch that. These are just metal T-posts that we bought from, I believe, Home Depot, but you can get them at any hardware store. And this is just jute twine. The reason I got this is because it's a little more sustainable, it breaks down, it's not plastic. So I'm just gonna take this and wrap it around the posts at, I think about like 16 or 18 inches, and then maybe like 24 to 28 inches, somewhere in there. Some of the flowers will get taller than that, but that gives them enough support at some of the taller heights so they won't completely flop over and break.
go. We've got one bed done. I just took the twine and wrapped it around at 2 different heights in like a figure 8 shape, and then I tied it off so it's as tight as I can get. Basically that created 2 kind of rectangular spaces for the flowers to grow up, and that way as they get taller, if it's windy, they'll just kind of lean on the twine and have the support they need. It's a little bit loose, but it should be plenty for those windy days, and at least the stems won't snap. Now I'm just going to do the same thing on this bed. This is the one with the dahlias in it, which we have a few popping up, super exciting. So this was the first one to pop up and is definitely the biggest. We've got a few shoots just peeking out of the soil over there. We've got one right there, and we've got one over here. So hopefully those continue to shoot up and grow nice and tall. Flower beds now have support, so we'll see how those do, and if I have to reinforce throughout the season, we can always add additional twine. I'm now sitting on the back porch, itching my bug bites, as I read the instructions for our new outdoor spray. Maybe a week or 2 ago, I put a little question box on Instagram asking if anyone had a recommendation for a non-toxic bug spray. I was already getting eaten alive, and it's May, and normally I don't really have itchy bug bites, but something has changed this year and I was just like covered in bug bites, and I knew that if I didn't find something, I would not be able to enjoy being outside all summer long. This brand, Wonderside, was recommended by a friend on Instagram. They have a whole bunch of different products focused on keeping bugs and pests away. The one I ended up getting was the Outdoor Pest Control. It kills and prevents mosquitoes, ants, fleas, and ticks, and it's safe around pets and people. I ended up getting the spray bottle and the concentrate, so together this will give us 25,000 square feet of coverage. This gives us 5, and then this bottle gives us 4 more of these bottles. So hopefully that will get us through a few seasons. You just screw this onto your hose, turn the water on, and you spray this along your property and your lawn, wherever you're trying to prevent bugs. It also says to reapply every 30 to 45 days or as needed to prevent new infestations. And like I said, they have other products for other particular pests and things, including indoor. And depending on how this works, I may get some of the indoor products specifically for ants. So we're gonna give this a go and see how it works. I got the majority of the yard. I went all around the perimeter. I sprayed the sides of the house and foundation, and then around the 3-season porch, including the roof line, because there's always so many bugs like up in that area, and it smells so good out here. This has cedarwood oil in it, and I'm pretty sure that's the scent I'm picking up on, and it's just like so fresh. So I doubt it'll linger very long, but fingers crossed this keeps the bugs away. We obviously may need to reapply in a month, but that was so easy to do, so I'm happy to do that every month if it makes it more enjoyable to be out here. I'm back inside. I have one more task that I wanted to get done, but I do need Matt's help. I want to swap the 3-season porch windows out for the screens, but they get kind of stuck throughout the winter, so I need him to like punch them out from the back so that I can catch them and swap them from the inside. So we will do that when he gets home or sometime later this evening. But while I was spraying the yard, I got a Target order, and I wanted to show you what I got because it is unexpectedly pretty awesome. All right, wide leg jeans are back. These are a recommendation from Maddie Pryor Hull on Instagram. I absolutely love her style. It's so effortless, it's so New England, and it's very like capsule wardrobe-y with neutrals. These pants are from flipping Target. Like, Come on, how cute. I don't really like buying clothes from Target because they just don't last. Like, they're not great quality, or they fit kind of weird, and it's just not a good investment to me. But I saw her post these the other day and I was like, oh, that's the perfect fit. It's nice and high, and they have these cute little back pockets. They're a good length. They're not like dragging on the ground. They work with sandals. They work with sneakers. I am in love, and I got 2 colors. These are the olive. I'm such a green girl. I just think of it as a neutral, but I have so many things that work with this, so it just fits in well with my wardrobe. I feel like these could even linger into like the fall months. You can dress them down, you can dress them up. I just have tennis shoes on. This would work with my Converse or just sandals, and they're so comfortable. Like, there's so much room. They're not too tight. Like, I don't feel like I'm being sucked in. They do run a little big, so if you do end up purchasing, I would size down or get a couple of sizes to try, so that you can get the fit that you're most comfortable in. Back in regular clothes for now. I'm just going to wrap up some emails and computer work while I wait for Matt to get home, and then I think we're gonna try making pizza on the grill tonight. We've never made it on the grill. We've made it in the oven and it turns out fine, but I thought it might be fun to give it a go on the grill. So fingers crossed it heats up okay, but I think that's probably the biggest challenge, is getting it to heat evenly. So we will see. And then hopefully we'll have time to swap the porch windows out. That was pretty good for a first time try of grilled pizza. The dough we just got from the grocery store pre-made, and the dough cooked up really well. Like, the crust was nice and crispy, but like soft on the inside. But of course we didn't get that like nice charring on the pepperonis and like the crispiness on top that you would normally get in the oven. So we have to kind of figure that out. But it's a nice alternative if you want like an easy summer thing to make outside on the grill, and everybody can make it the way they want. Now that we're done with that, we are going to switch out some of the 3-season porch windows with screens. We ended up just putting 6 in, so we did 4 across the back and then 1 on each corner here, partially because there's only 6 that are painted and the rest over here are still raw wood, and I'm just worried that they'll get in worse condition if I put them up before they're painted another year. But also it kind of helps it not be too breezy or chilly in here on those cooler nights, just to have a few windows in. So we're gonna try it, we'll see how it works, and if it's a bit toasty, then we can pop the rest of the windows out and put all the screens in. And once again, we have spent the morning mowing the lawn. We're trying to stay more on top of it because it just gets out of hand so quickly, especially with all the rain. So I did all the hand mowing, Matt did all the big deck mowing, now he's weed whacking, and I've just been spending a little bit of time in the garden, tidying up, clipping things back. I just showed you my sage plant, which is huge. I pulled out 3 sort of separate rooted pieces and replanted them elsewhere. And then I clipped back a lot of the growth because there's still all kinds of new leaves kind of in the deeper part of the plant, and it will continue to grow all season. So it was due for a haircut. Sorry about the motorcycles again. It's very loud. I always feel like we're in the middle of nowhere until the motorcycles go by, and then you feel like you're right next to the road. But anyway, I'm going to water the border garden, and then I'm going to give you a little tour of everything growing, show you some updates, and then I'm going to wrap things up because Matt and I are headed to a barbecue and we're going to save the rest of our outdoor tasks for tomorrow. We need a break, we want to enjoy the sunshine, and that's exactly what we're going to do. Starting with our sweet pea teepees. The sweet peas have continued to grow, but incredibly slowly. Like, they're only 12 inches high maybe, even some of them are shorter than that. So I'm just kind of holding out hope. We'll see if anything happens. These 2 in the back here are probably doing the best. And then everything around it that I planted is doing okay. That's like more recent, so I wouldn't expect that to be very large. We've got some flowers on our violets. The silver mound has gotten huge in both places, which is great. It spreads really nicely and it's just a beautiful color. Our alliums have dropped all their petals, but it's still just like a fun little textural element in the garden. Some things like the old lavender that I popped in the ground are starting to show buds at the top. I don't know if you can see that. So fingers crossed those start to flower shortly. The cosmos I put in the back of a few garden beds are seemingly pretty happy, so hopefully we'll start getting blooms on those soon. Catmint is doing well. Mint is starting to fill out nicely in the pots. All of my chives everywhere are blooming, which is so fun because this is the first year they've ever bloomed. The purple basil, it's growing slowly, but it's starting to get some new leaves, so hopefully that'll start shooting up. And this is another old lavender plant with some buds on it. I'm just obsessed with these violets. I'm so happy to see them flowering. I can't wait for them to spread. So all in all, border garden is starting to look okay. I still want to start filling it out with some more mature plants because a lot of these are actually annuals, so it's not going to last until next year. But tree seems to be happy. It's got part shade, part sun, so I think that helps a lot. And our garden beds are starting to look really full. I'm so glad I planted so many snapdragon because it's nice to see some color mixed in with all the green. This is the cilantro I grew from seed. This was a cilantro that self-seeded from last year, which is awesome, so I just left it. I think the spinach and arugula and the lettuce over there, while they look nice, are starting to get to the end of their season because it's getting really warm. So I'll have to clip all that back and use as much as I can. Tomatillos have gotten really big. We've even had a flower or two, like right there. I don't know if you can see that. Cherry tomatoes on both sides are getting huge. I've started to trim off the lower leaves just to keep putting energy into these new growth areas. So we'll see how that does. What else do we have? These squash, they've got some new growth, which is a good sign. So I think they're doing all right. These were all shishito peppers. They're still growing a bit, but definitely have been eaten. So I don't know if those will last. This was the new eggplant and the new jalapeno I planted last week, or earlier this week rather. And you know, we've got some new growth, which is good. And we've already got a little flower. The rest of these peppers, we'll see. We'll see if they power through. These I think were the cucumbers, and we've got new growth and these little spindles. I don't know what the term is, but they're starting to sprout out. These are snapdragons I grew from seed, which is exciting. These might actually be my sister's, so I can't take full credit for those. My snapdragons are mixed in with the tomatoes. This was another eggplant I bought and planted earlier this week, and that one's doing excellent. This is the sugar pie pumpkin, and we've got some new growth in the center, so that's a good sign. Basil's holding on. I had this problem last year where it got eaten, and then halfway through the season they looked like stalks and just started growing all new leaves. So I'm just letting them do their thing. I'm not going to fight it too hard. Sometimes it's a lot more effort than it's worth. These are my snapdragons, so much smaller but still growing, which is exciting. All the tomatoes, like on the other ones, I've trimmed some of the lower branches. The dill on the end here is looking awesome. We've got all kinds of new growth in there. This is oregano that I grew. Like, it is just so cool to see all these things I grew from a tiny little seed this big. I forget which kind of squash these are, but they do have some new growth. The fennel is looking fantastic. Lots of new growth down the center here. You can see right there. If you ask me what is the one plant you're the most excited about, it's the fennel. Peppers, we'll see. Not too bad, but still a little bit eaten. These three cosmos are doing okay. I had to pull one out. It just got floppy. I don't know what happened. This is all cilantro I started from seed. This is a second flush of radishes I planted maybe a week and a half ago. Beans are trying to power through the leaves getting eaten, but one of them on this side has made contact. And then a few of them on this side have started to wrap around the trellis. So in the next few weeks, we'll start to see pretty quick growth up the side of the trellis, which is one of my favorite parts of the season. So collards and lettuce over here, like I said, I really need to cut this and use it because it's not going to last too much longer. Celery and fennel over here are looking good. You've seen the strawberry. I'm hoping for a good harvest because we've got all kinds of little buds there. Cosmos are doing well. This is a shishito pepper I bought and planted earlier this week, so that one seems to be powering through. These two don't look terrible, but definitely smaller. And then this is my other batch of basil, which is much happier, so sometimes it just pays to plant it in a couple of different places. And then lastly, in the raised beds, this side of tomatoes also looking pretty happy. Lots of steady growth. It's funny when you see it every day, you don't think things have gotten bigger, but when I look back at older photos and video, I'm like, whoa. More snapdragons. This is some parsley, lots of new growth coming up through the center there. This is a chili I planted earlier this week. Carrots, they've seen better days, but a lot of the ones that got nibbled are producing some new growth here in the middle, so I don't know. I'm not sure they'll make it, but we'll see. You saw me trim the sage plant back, so that got a nice haircut. This is rosemary I grew from seed, so it's not huge, but it's getting there. Radishes, I had some new ones popping up, but I don't know if something ate them. So again, planting them in multiple places, they seem to be doing better in the other bed so far. And then I think that's it. This is our hydrangea that we still have not planted yet. lots of new growth. I just have not had time to work on a trellis for it, but I'm just kind of letting it do its thing, and when we have time we will get that planted. I will say, if you plant one thing in your garden, plant chives. Like, it's such an easy thing to grow. It comes back every year and they are just so fun. They're like little pom-poms. They add color, you can eat them, and honestly, if you just left it as like a grassy plant, it's still so beautiful in a perennial garden. I'm making my way over to the back garden, but I wanted to show you some lavender I have on the steps here. So this is all lavender from last year, and I just left it. I didn't do anything to it. I didn't clip it back, and we've got all this new growth and all these buds popping up at the tips here. So I think next year, like once it's all done, I'm gonna clip it back so that we've got newer growth lower. I think if you don't, the growth just keeps getting closer and closer to the tip, so it can get really woody. But every pot of lavender I have here seems to be coming back, and coming back really well. So I'm very excited about that, and honestly, just rubbing your hand through it and smelling the oil on your hand is heavenly. This was the sage plant I just repotted this morning because I pulled it out of the other bed, so I figured I'd try giving it a new home. We'll see how it does there. In the back bed, these are the peas. They're still crawling. I'm not sure if they'll make it, but we'll see. I'm just gonna let them be, and if they produce some peas, then great. The onions, I don't know. I'm just holding out hope. They've seen better days, but maybe it just takes a little bit to take off. So fingers crossed on those. Leeks are doing great. Shallots, garlic. I think these are the scapes that everyone talks about. You can kind of see there's like, I don't know what you would call this. It's not like a seam, but there's like a little lump, and then all of a sudden there's this like sort of tube-like end, and I think those are edible. I have to look to see if I have the garlic that actually produces the scapes, but if so, we can maybe harvest those soon. Celery and fennel that I planted in this back bed, not looking as good as the raised beds, but it's still growing, still powering through, so it might, you know, once it gets a little more mature, it might be okay. This is another sage I just replanted, so it looks a little sad, but I just watered it. Potatoes are taking off. Look at, almost this whole row has sprouted, and then we've got some sporadic ones in the other rows, a few over there, so that's really exciting. Sunflowers are getting bigger and bigger. These things grow so fast once they kind of get past that initial stage, so I'm really hoping they take off and get nice and big so we can harvest seeds for next year. I've got lots more sunflowers over here, so we'll see how those do. All getting very big. Over in the patch, I just gave everything a good water, but I mean, nothing has just totally keeled over yet, which is more than I expected, so I'm very thrilled about this. Like, we're already getting all kinds of new growth and buds. For the most part, everything's looking pretty green. There's a little yellowing, but I think that's just because I haven't been as good about watering. But look at all of this new growth coming out the center. Even some of the ones that were really small when I put them in, like, I did not think they would take off, but now that they've established, they're starting to get some new leaves. All right, coming around the side here, you guys saw these yesterday, but we've got 4 dahlias popping up so far, and I only watered those ones because I didn't want to water the ones that haven't sprouted yet. And then this flower bed is looking really, really good. We've already got a few cosmos just on the verge of budding, so that's really exciting because cosmos are one of my favorite, and once they start flowering, they flower all season long. And last but not least, we are at the front garden now. This beast is yarrow. You can see all the buds here at the top. I'm gonna have to dig this up because this will spread like crazy and take over, and I don't want the whole garden filled with yarrow. So I'll leave it for this year, but we'll have some work to do. Look at this hydrangea, you guys. I think that's a flower bud. I just planted this year from my parents, and if we get flowers, I will be ecstatic. I'm just amazed. Nature is amazing. Got lots of violets flowering. The astilbe is looking good. That's a little hyssop that I planted, so I don't know that it'll get very big this year, but definitely next year. Purple basil, more violets. I'm walking slowly because there's always snakes over here and I don't want to be caught off guard. More purple basil, more violets. That over there is more hyssop. We've got rosemary there, an allium that's kind of looking sad, and all of our hydrangeas along the front. This one too. Also got some flowers. So the ones on the end seem to be like the most mature and happy, but even just leaves on these like make me so happy that they actually kind of adjusted well. So I will keep you posted on that and let you know if we get some flowers this year. I just watered all the baskets. I'm not sure if you can see these very well, but so far so good. They're starting to get longer and more flowers, so it'll take some time, but I'm excited about those. It's fun to look outside and see these hanging. Matt and I have both been sneezing all morning after mowing because this pollen is insane. I think we're both gonna need a Claritin before we go to our barbecue. So that is a wrap on the garden tour. Lots of great growth, which is exciting to see, so I will continue to keep you updated. I'm gonna wrap things up here and we will pick up the next vlog with installing the gutter for the rain barrel, and I'm getting a very fun delivery, which I can't wait to show you. It's a new garden tool? I don't know, you'll have to wait and see next week. Thank you so much for watching this week. If you liked the video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe for future updates, and I will catch up with you again next week.